Top 4 Rare Wheat Penny List with 2025 Value Welcome. Today we're going to explore some of the most valuable wheat penny 1-cent coins in the United States coin market. We'll be looking at rare era varieties, special copper compositions, and unique toning shades that have become major stars in the coin collecting and investor world. These rare treasures are not just pieces of history. They are some of the most valuable coins collectors are searching for today. So if you're a coin enthusiast, or someone who appreciates the beauty and significance of American currency, this video is for you. Let's get started with the first coin. Backhand index pointing down. The 1943 no-mint mark wheat penny, the silver ghost that changed the world of coins forever. In the endless river of American coinage, one small copper-colored memory stands taller than any golden dollar. The 1943 no-mint mark wheat penny. It is a coin that has captured the imagination of collectors for generations. A piece of metal so simple in design yet so powerful in legend that it has become the holy grail of numismatics. To those who understand its story, this is not just a penny. It is a portal into history, a whisper from wartime America, and possibly the key to unimaginable fortune. To understand the 1943 wheat penny is to travel back in time, to a year when the world was engulfed in war. The year was 1943. And the United States was fighting across oceans, fueling tanks, planes, and dreams with every ounce of metal it could spare. Copper was desperately needed for ammunition and weaponry. So the U.S. Mint made a decision that would change coin history forever. That year, the penny, the humble symbol of American life, would no longer be struck in copper. Instead, it would be made of steel coated in zinc, giving it a silver-gray color unlike anything Americans had ever seen before. These 1943 steel cents, as they were called, looked like little dimes, shiny, cold, and ghost-like compared to their warm copper ancestors. Millions were made, and they served their purpose in wartime efficiency. But in the midst of this massive production change, something extraordinary happened. A few pennies were struck accidentally on leftover copper planchets from 1942. These coins should not exist, but they do. A few precious survivors born of error and chance. The 1943 no-mint mark copper wheat penny, struck in Philadelphia without a mint mark, became one of the most famous coins in the world. While nearly all pennies that year were silver-colored steel, this tiny handful of copper versions gleamed with a deep reddish glow, proof that fate itself had a hand in their creation. For decades, rumors spread of lucky people who found one in their change, their fortune changing overnight. Stories were whispered of a boy who bought candy with one, unaware that he had just spent what could have been millions today. Philadelphia's no-mint mark made this particular version even more legendary. Unlike coins from Denver D or San Francisco S, the Philadelphia issues bore no identifying letter. They were the heart of the nation's minting, the purest representatives of America's wartime resilience. The 1943 no-mint mark copper wheat penny was not just an error. It was a miracle, a coin born in defiance of its own time. Imagine the confusion of those early days. People seeing shiny steel pennies mixed with old copper ones, wondering if their eyes deceived them. To stumble upon a 1943 penny that looked copper was to stumble upon mystery itself. At first, many thought it was a trick, perhaps a steel cent painted brown or a fake. But over the years, testing proved the truth. A small handful of these 1943 copper pennies were 100% genuine. Their existence a product of human oversight and divine coincidence. The composition of this coin, 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, links it directly to the pennies of earlier years. That detail gives it an old-world soul, a continuity of warmth and color that stands in stark contrast to the cold steel of 1943's standard issue. It is as if these copper pennies refused to surrender, carrying on the tradition of the wheat design even as the world changed around them. Collectors consider the 1943 copper penny to be one of the most valuable coins ever minted in the United States. Even a single verified specimen can sell for hundreds of thousands to over $1 million. The finest examples, uncirculated and glowing with original luster, have fetched prices that most could never dream of. And yet, perhaps the most astonishing thought of all is this. One of these coins might still be sitting unnoticed in a jar, a drawer, or an attic box, waiting for the right eyes to find it. The design of the coin itself remains iconic. The obverse features the noble profile of Abraham Lincoln, gazing toward the future, with the words "In God we trust" above and "Liberty" to the side. A quiet message of faith and endurance in a world at war. On the reverse, the twin stalks of wheat frame the words 1 cent and United States of America, as if the coin itself were a small harvest, a promise of prosperity even in times of hardship. It's poetic that such a symbol of growth and strength would become one of the rarest treasures of the century. As decades passed, the myth of the 1943 copper penny grew larger than life. Newspaper stories, radio hosts, and school teachers repeated the tale. The lucky penny that could make you a millionaire. Kids began checking every penny they found, and many adults did too. Even now, 80 years later, thousands of people still examine their change in hope, chasing that tiny flicker of possibility. That enduring fascination is what makes this coin not just rare, but legendary. The truth is, every authentic 1943 copper penny tells a story of human imperfection, and how beauty can emerge from mistakes. In the chaos of wartime minting, as presses roared day and night, a few copper blanks slipped through the system, creating coins that were never meant to be. Each one is a survivor of chance, a testimony to the unpredictable nature of history itself. The no mint mark version adds even deeper meaning. Struck in Philadelphia, the birthplace of American independence, this coin connects to the nation's oldest traditions of liberty and perseverance. To own one is to hold a relic of that heritage, a coin that has outlived its creators, its time, and even its purpose, yet still carries power beyond price. Today, the 1943 no mint mark wheat penny stands as a beacon of hope for collectors and dreamers alike. It reminds us that greatness can emerge from the smallest and simplest things. A single penny, barely an inch wide, can hold stories of war, sacrifice, and fortune. It is proof that in America, even the humblest object can carry infinite worth. So if you ever find a 1943 penny that gleams with the warmth of copper instead of the cold sheen of steel, don't spend it. Don't even blink. Because you may be holding the most valuable 1-cent coin ever created, a piece of history with the power to change your life overnight. The 1943 no mint mark wheat penny is not just a coin. It is a symbol of persistence, luck, and the enduring spirit of discovery. It is the ultimate reminder that sometimes, the smallest treasure can hold the biggest destiny. And for the one who finds it, that destiny may shine brighter than silver itself. Next up, the 1943 D copper wheat penny. The 1-cent miracle that defied history and built legends. Among the countless coins ever struck by the United States Mint, few possess the aura, mystery, and magnetic power of the 1943 D copper wheat penny. It is not merely a coin. It is an accident turned into immortality, a fragment of American wartime history cast in copper when the world had turned to steel. For collectors, dreamers, and believers in fate, this coin is a shimmering reminder that even the smallest piece of metal can hold the power to change one's fortune overnight. To understand the 1943 D copper penny, one must travel back to a time when the world was burning with war and America was fueling freedom with every ounce of its industrial might. The year was 1943. Factories thundered, soldiers marched, and copper, the lifeblood of ammunition and communication lines, was in desperate demand. To save copper for the war effort, the U.S. Mint made a bold decision. For the first time in history, the penny would be made not from its familiar reddish copper, but from zinc-coated steel. This gave the coin a silvery appearance, strange and ghostly, and instantly set the year apart in the numismatic world. Yet, amid this transformation, something magical occurred in the Denver Mint, something no one intended. A few 1943 pennies were accidentally struck using leftover copper planchets from 1942, when the mint had not yet fully switched to steel. These stray copper blanks should have been melted or discarded. But fate had other plans. As the coin presses roared to life, a handful of these copper discs found their way beneath the dies, and from that moment, the 1943 D copper wheat penny was born. The D mint mark beneath the date signifies that this legendary rarity was struck in Denver, Colorado, a facility known for precision and efficiency. Yet even the most meticulous operation can yield miracles when timing, luck, and history collide. In a mint that produced over 217 million regular steel cents that year, only a few copper ones slipped through the cracks, a microscopic error in the sea of silver-gray coins, but one that would later become a golden ticket for the lucky few who found them. From the outside, the 1943 D copper penny looks deceptively ordinary. It carries the same noble portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, his steady gaze symbolizing faith and endurance in troubled times. The inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1943, stand proud as ever. On the reverse, the twin wheat stalks frame the simple yet powerful words, 1 cent, United States of America. But when held under light, its reddish copper gleam gives it away. It is not cold steel, but warm history made flesh. For decades, stories of this coin have captured imaginations across generations. People whispered about a single 1943 copper penny that surfaced and sold for a small fortune. Newspapers told tales of lucky individuals who found one in circulation. People who went from ordinary to extraordinary overnight. The legend grew, and soon the 1943 copper penny was known as the most valuable 1-cent coin ever created. Collectors chase it like a myth made real. The rarity is so extreme that only one confirmed 1943 copper penny is known to exist. A single coin that stands as the crown jewel of American numismatics. When it first appeared in the collecting world, experts could hardly believe it was genuine. It was tested, authenticated, and studied for years. Finally, the truth was undeniable. This was no counterfeit. It was a genuine 1943 penny, struck in copper at the Denver Mint, a living fossil of a mistake that changed coin history forever. What makes this coin story even more captivating is its connection to wartime America. Every copper penny struck in 1943 was an unintentional act of rebellion against the Mint's own decree. It was a coin that refused to change, a survivor of a bygone material, as though it wanted to remind the nation of what came before. In the heat of industrial urgency, a few relics of tradition slipped through, carrying within them the spirit of endurance that defined America in those years. The 1943 copper penny's value today borders on the unimaginable. Because it is unique, it is not just a coin, it is a treasure beyond price. It has been auctioned for staggering sums, each sale rewriting the record books. Experts estimate that, if it were offered today, it could fetch millions of dollars, possibly rivaling the price of rare gold coins or even priceless art. To hold it is to hold a fortune, and a fragment of history's heartbeat. But beyond money, the 1943 copper penny holds something deeper. A story of chance, survival, and destiny. It reminds us that perfection is not always found in precision, but sometimes in the flaws that fate allows. Every coin ever struck is meant to be identical, but this one dared to be different. It was born of accident but became a symbol of possibility. Imagine the thrill of the first person who realized what they had, a single copper penny among countless steel ones, its glow rich and alive. Perhaps it sat in someone's pocket, passed from hand to hand, unnoticed for years. Perhaps a child once used it to buy candy, unaware that they were spending a future fortune. The romance of that mystery only adds to its legend, because for every 1943 penny out there, millions still check their change in hopes that lightning might strike twice. The Denver Mint, known for its precision, became the birthplace of a miracle that no one could have predicted. Even the most skilled engravers and engineers could not have planned this. It was as though history itself had conspired to leave behind a symbol. A single copper coin in a world of steel, a flicker of warmth in an age of cold industry. Today, the 1943 copper wheat penny is not just a relic of metal but a story of endurance and value beyond measure. It lives in books, museums, and dreams. Collectors speak its name with reverence. Historians with awe. It has crossed generations, whispering one truth that never fades. Sometimes, the smallest things can hold the greatest power. If ever a coin had the power to change a person's destiny overnight, this is the one. To find a 1943 copper penny would be like uncovering buried treasure, a link to the past that carries within it the promise of a brighter tomorrow. It is more than a cent. It is America's miracle in miniature, a testament to how history, chance, and value can unite in a single gleaming moment of copper perfection. So, if you ever hold a 1943 penny and see that unmistakable copper glow, check beneath the date for the tiny D. Because if fate smiles on you, and that D stands proud under the year, you may be holding not just a coin, but the most valuable and powerful penny ever to exist, a single cent capable of changing your fortune forever. The 1956 Wheat Penny, the last great copper legend of America's golden coin era. The story of the 1956 D Wheat Penny is one that shimmers with nostalgia, history, and hidden fortune. It is not merely a small coin of copper. It is a symbol of a turning age in American coinage, a final echo of an era when craftsmanship, precision, and pride went into every single cent. The D Mint mark beneath its date reveals that this little piece of treasure was born in the heart of the Denver Mint, one of the most efficient and trusted coin-producing facilities in the United States. Yet among the millions that rolled off the presses, a few extraordinary ones emerged. Coins that would defy logic, shine with perfection, and later command unimaginable worth in the collector's market. To understand the importance of the 1956 D Wheat Penny, one must travel back to mid-century America, a land of optimism and transformation. The war was long over, industries were booming, and the nation was moving forward into an age of cars, color televisions, and suburban dreams. But even as progress rushed ahead, the humble wheat penny continued to carry the same dignified design that had been introduced in 1909 to honor the great Abraham Lincoln. The wheat ears on its reverse symbolized prosperity, growth, and the enduring strength of the American farmer, while Lincoln's profile on the front reminded the nation of its moral backbone. By 1956, the Lincoln wheat penny had become more than currency. It was an icon. Children collected them, adults cherished them, and banks moved them in rivers of copper that flowed through the American economy. Yet even within that sea of pennies, the 1956 D struck something special. It was the last full production year before the design would vanish, replaced later by the Lincoln Memorial reverse. It was the final whisper of the wheat years. And for collectors, that makes it sacred. The Denver Mint, with its sharp D mark, had a reputation for near-perfect coin production. But perfection, as always, hides beauty in its flaws. Among the billions produced, a few error coins slipped through. Double dies, repunched mint marks, and those struck on leftover planchets of unusual composition. These rare variations are what make the 1956 D Wheat Penny more than just another coin. They make it a hidden masterpiece, capable of turning an ordinary find into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Most of these pennies were made of rich, reddish copper, a metal that carries warmth, depth, and character. Unlike the modern zinc-based coins of today, these older cents were crafted from an alloy that holds history in its sheen. When light glides across a well-preserved 1956 D penny, it glows like embers in a fading fireplace, whispering stories from a time when every cent truly meant something. The feel of that solid copper in your hand is the touch of American resilience itself. For decades, collectors have searched for the most flawless examples of the 1956 D penny. Those with the sharpest strikes, the deepest color, and the most mirror-like surfaces. A perfect uncirculated specimen, graded at the highest level, can sell for thousands of dollars in today's market. But it is the rare error versions, the coins that defied the ordinary, that have commanded the kind of value that makes headlines. Imagine one small copper disc that once bought a stick of gum now being worth more than a house. That is the allure of this penny. The wheat design itself carries emotional weight. It was chosen to honor America's roots in agriculture, a tribute to the backbone of the nation that fed the world. Every detail in those wheat stalks was a symbol of hard work, abundance, and unity. By 1956, this design had already become a piece of Americana, a connection to simpler times when pennies were treasured, and children saved them in glass jars with hope and pride. And then there's the spirit of the Denver Mint itself, a place of precision, pride, and quiet miracles. Workers there, though focused on mass production, knew they were crafting something more than metal. Each coin was a small messenger of value and trust. Yet, even with the highest standards, accidents happen. Dies misalign, punches double, or planchets vary. When such errors occurred in 1956, they unknowingly created pieces that would one day become priceless rarities. Some 1956 D Wheat pennies bear a repunched mint mark, where the D was struck twice by accident, creating a ghostly echo under magnification. Others show double die errors, where Lincoln's features seem to shimmer with a second image, a tiny flaw that transforms a cent into a fortune. These subtle imperfections are what collectors dream of, for they are the fingerprints of history itself. The coin's legacy has only grown stronger over time. The 1956 D penny sits at the crossroads of two great eras, between the proud wheat design of the early 20th century and the modern era that followed. It bridges the past and the present, carrying both the soul of the old America and the promise of the new. In that small circle of copper lies the heartbeat of a nation that was both humble and ambitious, grounded yet ever reaching for greatness. In today's market, even a standard 1956 D Wheat penny holds sentimental and collectible value. But when one of the rare error variants surfaces, perhaps tucked away in an attic jar, a forgotten roll, or a child's old collection, it can spark a storm of excitement. Collectors and investors alike know that one lucky find can rewrite financial destiny. There are real stories of individuals who have stumbled upon these treasures and walked away with life-changing wealth. What makes the 1956 D penny truly special, however, is not only its rarity or price tag, it's the story it tells. It is a reminder of how something so small, so seemingly insignificant, can carry immense worth. It is proof that greatness can exist in the tiniest of forms, and that history hides its treasures where few think to look. As time passes and more pennies fade from circulation, the 1956 D Wheat cent becomes not just a collectible, but a symbol of endurance. It represents the craftsmanship of a bygone age, the patience of the American worker, and the quiet dignity of value well made. Each one that survives today is a little ambassador of that spirit, a flash of copper light from a world now gone. So if you ever find yourself holding a 1956 D Wheat penny, take a moment before you let it go. Study its shine, feel its weight, and think about the hands that made it. Because in that single cent lies not just metal, but magic, a whisper from history that might just hold the power to change your fortune forever. Next up,